I don't. I do have a contractor
Okay.
right now, but not at the moment. I have had other positions, and in fact, it some may view where I am now as a step back, but absolutely I don't view it that way at all. I used to have, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, if you don't mind, could you explain to the listeners what exactly a contractor is in your setting?
Oh, okay. Sometimes it's called a W-2 or a 1099. They are people who either work on their own, finding their own next position. So it could be a 2, 3, 6, 1 year contract that you make with an employer, and either you do that on your own, and that's what's a 1099 because then you pay your own taxes through there, or you can find a company that is a staffing agency, third-party recruiter. So we're not supposed to call them headhunters anymore.
Thank you.
Search firms is what we call them in the legal world.
We appreciate it.
And
I
you
didn't
would,
even know that.
yeah, it's supposed to be the proper vernacular, but
That is.
so and then you sign that that agency or recruiter finds you the employer to go work for, and then you sign a contract with that recruiter who signs a contract with that employer.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I got into a contracting arrangement with an organization here in Philly, and initially we were going to have a 3-month agreement, and that was 72 months ago.
Oh,
So they
geez.
get ready. So we're still doing our thing. I appreciate
great.
them.
Great.
You know, not to transition out a little, but I was looking at a Monster.com article, and they were speaking about, I guess, the enactment of the Women's History Month by Congress. It was passed in 1987.
It was like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it really seems that way, right? Yeah.
So listen, they took some numbers, I guess, through the census and through different, women's organizations to kind of figure out since 1970 to 2010, what careers had the highest increase in women coming into them.
Okay, just numbers driven?
Numbers driven. You'd be surprised. I guess you would be surprised, but maybe not. The number one jump was civil engineers.
Wow.
It went from 1.3% to 12.7% of all civil engineers are women.
That's
Yes.
terrific, but we're still seeing it's not as many.
It's not a lot.
Still.
Right.
And my dear co-host at TIF South, Tiffany Southerland, would be very interested in knowing that in 1970, lawyers and judges, women made up 4.9% of lawyers and judges. But now, in 2010, so I can't imagine what the number is now, 33.4.
Wow,
So,
it has gone up. Yeah, this is not the show for that, but there's a lot of nuance related to the women and ethnic and racial minorities in the legal profession that it's funny, even though that number is a nice number, there's so much flat movement when it comes to women in leadership, which is what we talk about, which we're going to talk about today. But that number is great, but it's always like, what else? You know what I mean?
That's the piece on the diversity side that we go through. You can have an organization reaching diversity numbers in the call center.
Yeah.
But then when you look at upper leadership,
absolutely.
you don't see the same.
Yeah,
It's not reflective of what's happening.
Top down.
Yeah, right. So,
right.
and that's always the, it's kind of like the veil. It's like, okay, you're meeting your diversity numbers, but where are you meeting them at?
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of those numbers, though, are starting to be tracked differently by those that do the methodology and report out, because companies are not looking like the customers they serve, and that's where you really need your diversity numbers.
And I mean, this country is changing so quickly, and we will be a majority-minority country in the next several years, which is something that a lot of people makes some people uneasy. I'm personally looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But, this country, I think at every industry, when we talk about education, you talk about home ownership, you talk about anything, healthcare, like we have to really think differently about the way we interact with people and the way we relate to people, because we cannot continue to have the thing that we've been having for the last, several hundred years when it comes to the way that minorities and women are reflected in the leadership of this country. And that's funny because I did some research today and was looking at the number of women that actually lead countries.
Okay.
And it is
Hold on. Tiffany took leadership to a whole
a
nother
whole
level.
different level, right?
Wait, she
Right.
said last week she was really excited for this, so here we go. Come on.
So it's like, so we, and this was a Pew Research Center study, that 70 countries that were in the study had only had a female leader. Only 70 countries had ever had a female leader, ever. And 56 of the 46 nations included in this study have had at least one, have had a female head of state at least 1 year in the past 50 years. So that's 38% of nations in the last 50 years have had a woman leader for at least 1 year. And this struck me because I never think about leadership on like a country global level. We talk about it as CEOs and like
business owners.
Maybe,
right.
maybe I'm hearing that number wrong, but I'm surprised by that number.
it sounds like but the thing is that this is over a 50-year period.
Sure, okay.
For at least 1 year. And,
Okay,
and so there are additional countries where someone was only in office for 4 months because God knows what happened there. But I think so I think right now there are 15 women world leaders currently in office. 8 of them are the first women in their country to hold office.
Wow.
So the United States obviously
yes.
has never had one, right? We missed that boat the first time, but we're not gonna miss it the next time if we have that opportunity. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
It's Women's History Month on the Career Seeker Show. As you can see, Tiff South, Alberta Recruits.
International Women's Day.
International Women's Day today. Cannot wait to speak with Sylvia LaFair. I really do value her. You know what? I also want to, speaking of valuing people, I value the listeners, and I want to thank the people that have reached out to me even today to say they're checking in. So let me give a shout out to Andrew and Carrie on that ride home, looking out, checking in with the Career Seekers Show. Also, Jen, I appreciate you checking in on the Career Seekers Show. Angela, Miss Mina, everybody checking in on the Career Seekers Show. This is beautiful. We really appreciate y'all. Apple, I see you. North Philly, everybody is checking in to tell us that we're doing a great job. Alberta Recruits and Tiff South.
It's good to know. Got it. I'm gonna shout out Renee in New York who's watching Facebook
Nice.
Live.
I love it. Hold us down, NY. We got you.
All right.
So I want to speak a little more about this list because one of the, this seems like a no-brainer actually, one of the careers that saw one of the largest increases in women was police officers. It went from 3.7% to 14.8%. But you do see more female police officers now. And I think it's great because, you want to be able to look a lot like the population you're serving. So it just makes complete sense. Physicians and surgeons, of course, 9.7 to 32.4. Oh. Yes.
Okay.
This is one that's really interesting. Accountants, 24.6 to now 60% of all accountants.
That was just within 2010.
That was 2010, yeah.
7 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, sure, right, exactly. And pharmacists, 12.1 to 52.6.
Very, very cool.
So, surprised by any of those numbers?
I don't think so. No, not really. I'm always interested to know, because these numbers, they exist out in this like kind of abstract way. I'm always interested to know what went into the kinds of shifts that we saw, that we see. But I just know whenever I see a woman police officer, I get a little proud. And I don't know if that's like, I don't know if it's weird, but I always see her, I'm just like, that's right, girl. Go ahead. And I don't know, and I don't know her, and she don't know me, but I'm just happy to see her.
Oh my God, it's so funny you're saying that because I have one in my apartment complex, and she had this really funny bumper sticker that I can't repeat on here. But I followed her. I said something to the guard, and he's like, "Oh yeah, but she's a cop." And so I followed her. I commented about how funny her bumper sticker was, and I'm like, "I thank you for being, for helping us and serving."
So Will, just
Yes,
because you're the other man in the room, I think the pride in seeing this, I think it's a ticket grab. I think they believe that they have a better chance of getting out of a ticket by pushing the woman's pride thing.
No,
going
absolutely
on
not. So much easier with a man.
No, what? No, yeah. I guess so.
I'm not getting tickets. How about that? That's what I'm talking about.
I guess that's the flip side of it. Don't get it at all.
There you go.
Don't get it at all.
Let's be clear, seekers.
No tickets. Listen. I have stories about tickets. Those are for off there.
Okay, off the air ticket stories next. It's the Career Seeker Show, WPPM FM 106.5 Philadelphia. Streaming live at phillycam.org. Also broadcasting live at the ECE Facebook fan page. If you're listening, let someone else know. We do this here every week. It's the Career Seeker Show, Wednesdays, 4 o'clock. We are getting ready to have Dr. Sylvia LaFair visit the show. So we're really excited. If you're not familiar, Dr. LaFair has several books out, actually. I know she recently shared Unique and Gutsy. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at any of the information that Dr. LaFair shared. I do probably believe that you guys probably went and looked at her LinkedIn page. I know she writes for Inc.
She has a lot of amazing things
I
going
gotta
on
be
the
honest,
internet.
I got overwhelmed.
Yeah,
because
okay.
there's
And I'm also trying to figure out how can I do so many of these things that
Sure.
she's doing. And like, it's
Seriously,
just,
yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah,
She's
it's
unbelievable.
really,
When she said she had the time to spend a
With
piece
us.
of our afternoon with us, I was just humbled.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
she's been a great resource for me personally. We've done some things with Woman's Career Toolbox, Inc. magazine, her book. Wow, what is the title of that one? I apologize, Dr. Sylvia.
Well, she can tell us
yeah,
about it,
she
right?
will tell us.
We don't wanna take
don't
too
bring
much
it to
away.
work. Don't bring it to work is the title of that book. But man, she just has some great stuff out here, and she's all about leadership. She's all about equality. She's all about women achieving. And Tiff and I earlier, prior to you coming, Alberta, we were having a conversation about the Sankofa technique and method that, well, I guess just the principles of that. And Sylvia's just big on being able to tell your story. So we had a conversation for the Inc. magazine article about how you tell your story in the workplace.
Okay.
You know, or, you know, even in an interview setting.
So yeah, the
Or-
behavioral interviewing, yeah.
well, kind of behavioral interviewing, but it's more being willing to say what it is that you want to do. The belief was that, you know, you have a lot of people out here and they know exactly what it is that they want to do. And we do this orientation every Monday here in Philly at the Urban League of Philadelphia. We'll do an orientation. And my colleague, Carla Baptiste, will say, if I had a magic wand, what job would you take? What would you want to be? And people still struggle in a world that's unreal, not even real.
Yeah.
They still struggle with saying, you know what, I'd like to be a talk show host. I'd like to be, you know, a CPA,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. And they'll simply say, well, I have a lot of skills. You know, I believe I have some administrative skills, and I do have an aptitude for math. And they'll dance all around it, but they won't just come out and say what it is for fear of losing out on another opportunity possibly, or just for fear of sharing.
Yeah.
And that's just concerning because I think we're in a world now where if you put it out there, there's avenues to get it. And I think that's the one thing I see with Women's History Month. Like, wow, women are doing some incredible things in today's world
Yeah.
that they weren't able to do even 20 years ago.
Right, yeah.
So why not just say what it is that you want to do and go get it?
But that begs the question, why are we all so afraid as a society to ask for what we want?
To dream. And
Yeah.
I think part of it is that people are so, it's like operating under a glass ceiling almost.
Yeah.
Like you can't see the ceiling, but you're afraid to jump up to it because you're afraid to get knocked down.
Right.
And you can't even, some people are afraid to even just imagine what possibilities could be for fear of not getting it. And fear of rejection, or just I don't even know if I'm worthy enough to
Sure.
imagine this thing
That's a big thing with
that
women, too,
I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
And that is something,
Yeah.
that's something that comes with a lot of, you have to dig deeper sometimes in order to figure out what those issues are that are keeping you from even imagining the thing that you might want to be.
It's the Career Seeker Show, live on WPPM FM 106.5. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will spend some time with Dr. Sylvia LaFair. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few. All right, she's on. So I didn't want to mess with her time.
No, absolutely, I get it.
So, new session.
Yep.